After Blenheim by Robert Southey, poem number 4. Okay, we have already started this poem and 5 stanzas explanation I have given to you children, and today we resume that. That is from stanza 6. I'll give the explanation. So you may take page number 18 and have pencil in your hand and keep textbook with you if you have. Otherwise, you can see it. It is there on the screen. Poetry is there on the screen for your help. You can look there also. And if you have your textbook, so keep underlining the difficult words and you may refer to the dictionary, or word meanings are also given in your workbook. Okay, so let's start without wasting time. Stanza number 6, that is from here. It was the English, Caspar cried, who put the French to rout, but what they fought each other for, I could not well make out. But everybody said, quoth he, that it was a famous victory. Okay, now here what is happening, that Caspar is giving answer to his grandchildren. Okay, before this what had happened, that Wilhelmine was playing there in the garden and Peterkin was playing at some distance near the rivulet, that is near the stream, and while playing there he found something that was very unusual for him. And what was that? That is, it was round in shape, it was large and very smooth. So he came to his grandfather to ask, what is this? So when his grandfather saw that and took it in his own hands, and then grandchildren asked to him, Peterkin asked to him, and Wilhelmine was also standing there, and they wanted to know that what is this. Okay, and then he told, that is, these are the skulls. Okay, these are the skulls and many are there lying around, and I often, when I work in the field, that is when I work in the field, then the plowshare which is there, so that turns them out. Okay, so they asked, that is, what was the reason behind that, what is the reason behind such a war in which so many people lost their lives. So now he is giving answer to them, that it was the English, Caspar cried. Caspar cried means, that is, Caspar said. Okay, that is, he told them disappointingly that it was the English. English means, that is, it was England. Okay, that is, it was the English who put the French to rout. That is, it was England who had defeated France, who had defeated the French. And then, but what they fought each other for, I could not well make out. And then here Caspar said that what they fought each other for, that is, but what was the reason behind such a fight which took place between the England and the France, the fight which took place between the French and the England. So what was the reason behind that fight? I could not well make out. That is, I do not know the actual reason about the war which took place between the two countries. And then, but everybody said, quoth he, who, quoth means said, that is, he said. Who said? Caspar said. So this he is given for Caspar. So Caspar said that, but everybody said, that is, during the war, everybody used to say that it was a famous victory, that it was a famous victory. Victory means success, that it was a famous success. Okay, now next stanza. My father lived at Blenheim then, yon little stream hard by. They burnt his dwelling to the ground, and he was forced to fly. So with his wife and child he fled, nor had he where to rest his head. Okay, now what is given in this stanza? That grandfather, that is Caspar, now gives more explanation, that is, he tells more about that time, that is, what had actually happened during that time. So what he tells, Caspar tells to his grandchildren that my father lived at Blenheim then. Now who said? Who is telling? Caspar is telling to his grandchildren Peterkin and Wilhelmine, that is, my father lived at Blenheim then, that is, my father used to live in Blenheim. yon little stream hard by. And where he used to live, where was his house? Whose house he is telling? His own father. Okay, that is yon is little stream hard by. That is yon. Yon means over there. Okay, that is यहाँ से कुछ ही दूर पर that little stream which is there. मैं कि वहाँ पे जो नदी बह रही है उसी के पास क्या था? मेरे पिता का घर था. Okay, they burnt his dwelling to the ground. Now he is telling that is they burnt. Now who had burnt? That is during the war when French and English were having war. So during the war they had burnt the house. Whose house? His own house. That is where his father was living. And then they burnt his dwelling. Dwelling means house. To the ground. To the ground means that is completely, that soldiers, those who were involved in the war, so they had completely burnt his house. And he was forced to fly. So next line, what is given? He was forced to fly. Who was forced to fly? His own father. Okay, Casper's father. So he said that is my own father, as his house was completely burnt, so he was forced to run away from there. To fly means that is he had to run away because there was no house, his house was burnt, so he was forced to go away from there. So with his wife and child he fled, nor had he where to rest his head. Now, so with his wife and child he fled. So what my father did, that is as he had no other option, he had to run away from there as his house was completely burnt. So with his wife and child he fled. Fled means that is he went away from there, he ran away from there, nor had he where to rest his head. That is now he was completely unknown, that is he was not knowing that is where to go and take the shelter, that is where to take his family, where to take his wife and child and have shelter. Okay, now next stanza you can see, children. Last one, this one. Yeah. With fire and sword the country round was wasted far and wide, and many a chiding mother then and newborn baby died. But things like that, must be at every famous victory. Now, what he tells, that with fire and sword the country round was wasted far and wide. Now, Caspar keeps on telling about the situation that took place, the situation that was long back during the war, when war was between the French and the English. So what he tells, with fire and sword the country round. The country round means that is in the whole country. Okay, in the whole country, what happened? That is with fire and sword. That is everywhere we can see fire and sword. That is people were fighting to each other, that is the soldiers of English and the French, they were fighting with each other, and there was fire, there was destruction and devastation, and was wasted far and wide. That is was wasted far and wide means that is everything all around, the houses, the places, whatever was there, everything was wasted, everything was devastated and destroyed. And many a childing mother then and newborn baby died. Many a childing mother then, many a childing mother then, that is those mothers who were expecting babies, that is those pregnant women who were there, so they also died, and the newborn babies also died. But things like that, must be at every famous victory. But things like that, that is such kind of things, such kind of destruction and devastation always takes place whenever there is famous victory. That is whenever there is war between the two parties or the two countries. So one is only there to win, one is only there to get success. So such things always happen, that is the common men, the innocent people who are there, they have to lose their lives and the property. Okay, now you can take the next page, last one. What the poet says in the next paragraph, next stanza, that they say it was a shocking sight, after the field was won, for many thousand bodies here lay rotting in the sun. But things like that, must be after a famous victory. Now, Caspar tells to his grandchildren that they say it was a shocking sight. They say. Now, for whom this they is given? They say it was a shocking sight after the field was won. That is, when this war was over and when people saw this, when people saw that what kind of view was there of the field. So they say means that is post war. Post war means after the war, those people who had witnessed, the view of the field, that what was seen at that time, that it was a shocking sight, that it was shocking for all the people who had saved their own life anyhow. And after the field was won, that many thousand bodies here lay rotting in the sun. That is what they had seen, what they had witnessed, what they saw in the field. That is, everywhere there were dead bodies. That is, many thousand bodies, that countless dead bodies were there, lay rotting in the sun. That nobody was there to take care, nobody was there to pick up these dead bodies, and they were lying on the field, rotting in the sun. Okay, that is, they were getting rotten. And but things like that, must be after a famous victory. And then he told his grandchildren, but such kind of things always take place, always happen after a famous victory. Okay, now next one. Next stanza. Great praise the Duke of Marlborough won, and our good Prince Eugene. Why, 'tis was a very wicked thing, said little Wilhelmine. Nay, 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 little girl, quoth he, it was a famous victory. Now, what is given here? Second last paragraph, stanza, that great praise the Duke of Marlborough won. Now, Duke of Marlborough and Prince Eugene at that time were ruling on England. Okay, that they were the king and the prince. Duke means king, we can say. So Duke of Marlborough and Prince Eugene, so were there, who were ruling on England, and they had won this war. So great praise, that is, both of them, Prince Eugene and Duke of Marlborough, so they had won great praise by everyone, as they have defeated French, as they have defeated France. So why it was a very wicked thing, said little Wilhelmine. Okay, now see what is given there. That is, when Caspar told his grandchildren, that is, so many innocent people lost their lives, and still they won praise from the people. So it is very wicked thing, it is a very bad thing. That is, so many people lost their lives, lost their house, and so many things happened. So many childing mothers were there, pregnant women were there, newborn babies were there, they died, and still they got this great praise by everyone. So it was a very wicked thing. So father replied that, nay, 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 my little girl, quoth he, it was a famous victory. That is, no, 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 my little girl, it was a famous victory. Then last stanza. And everybody praised the Duke, who this great fight did win. But what good came out of it at last, quoth little Peterkin. Why, that I cannot tell, said he, but it was a famous victory. So what happens here? What is given here? And everybody praised the Duke, who this great fight did win. Then Caspar tells his grandchildren that everybody praised, that is, all the people praised Duke of Marlborough, who did great fight did win. That is, who had won this great fight. Okay, but what good came out of it at last, quoth little Peterkin. And then the grandson Peterkin asked his grandfather that, but what good came out of it at last? That is, what was the use of having such a war in which so many people lost their lives? Okay, that what was the benefit of such a war at last? So why that I cannot tell, said he. Now who said this line? Casper. Casper replied to Peterkin that why that I cannot tell. That is, I cannot tell that what good came out of it. What was the benefit? What was the advantage of having such a war? But it was a famous victory. Okay. Now you can see that so many times this line is repeated, that it was a famous victory, it was a famous victory. So this line is used as irony. Okay, irony means that is there by referring this line, by emphasizing on this line, the poet wants to tell us about the disadvantages of having the wars. Okay, so we have finished this poem explanation, children, and in the next class we shall discuss few more points from the workbook. Thank you.